Hello, everybody. This is Carlos from the Entrance Ramp podcast. We are doing something different this week with our show. We're not actually doing a full episode. We're kind of uploading our thoughts on this crazy week of wrestling we've had. It's been a very turbulent week. If you've been or if you are a wrestling fan, should I say? We've had a death of a legend, many releases within WWE. In mostly every aspect of the company, um, and some furloughs as well, and some also strange news coming out. So we're gonna get into that. At least I'm gonna get into my section, my thoughts. I know Nick and Mark are as well putting up stuff, so you can watch out. As always, like, share, subscribe. But if you could just keep that in mind, we are doing something different this week. Hopefully next week we can go back to our normal everyday, hey, what's up? Let's go through the news. Let's do this. Let's do that. But right now, it's been a really turbulent week and a really turbulent time of our lives. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start my section of just kind of speaking on what happened this week. I wanted to touch on some subjects within the week of wrestling, in our shows. Normally we speak and stuff, and then I wanted to kind of do a long form segment on what's going on with the releases and the passing of Mr. Finkel. So Raw, that's not usually my show. That's usually Nick's. I'm not sure if Nick is going to get into it too much about what happened, but needless to say, I mean, we have our biggest storyline kind of going with the continued formation of a trio with Zelina Vega, Austin Theory, Garza, and Andrade. The Theory, the trio being Garza, Theory, and Andrade. And their continued dominance within Raw. We also have McIntyre having his first big opponent, it seems, after his match with the Big Show and Brock Lesnar, which looks like he's going to be going into a program with Seth Rollins. That's a great idea in my mind. He's slowly been building himself up as his Monday Night Messiah and this almost authority figure, holier than thou, character he's been building within WWE and Raw since turning heel a few months ago. So it's going to be nice. I think it's a good first step. It can show a different side of McIntyre where he is very athletic. He is very fast, quick on his feet. And I'm sure we'll get something different than what we saw at WrestleMania, where it was just, you know, Claymore, 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 suplex, suplex, F5, all that jazz. We're going to get something, I think, a little more long form, similar to, I would say, probably the Big Show match or the Andrade match. It was cool that WWE mentioned Andrade and Drew McIntyre's, pardon me, their history in NXT. WWE is not known to do that, at least not on purpose. They'll fall into that kind of storyline, a la Bray Wyatt and John Cena at this year's WrestleMania. So that is it for Raw. With NXT, wanted to touch on the kind of two new faces we saw within the company. We had the debuting Timothy Thatcher, really hard hitting, awesome wrestler. If you've seen on the indies, if not, check him out. Just YouTube Timothy Thatcher. You'll see a bunch of awesome matches. This dude's a real deal, and I think teaming him up with Matt Riddle in the interim while all this craziness is going on and Pete Dunne can't be in the United States is a great idea. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how they play off. I like the idea that Timothy Thatcher won't hold the title because he's just here to back up Riddle as a friend of Dunn. And he's also very hard hitting. So if they can make that into a trio when everything's back to normal, I think that would be awesome. That's a formidable team right there. That's a hard hitting team. I wouldn't even just let them go nuts. Pardon me, something just fell in the background. The show's got to go on, fellas and ladies. So there we go. We have that, and then the ending segment of NXT was very interesting. We had Ciampa kind of burying the storyline with him and Gargano and Candice LeRae, going with Papa Triple H's saying that, hey, we're done, that's it, no more. Fine, you won, you're the better man, whatever. And then getting attacked by Killer Cross or It seems like he's not going to be known as Killer Cross, at least from the, it seems like leaked t-shirt designs. It seems like he might be named Karrion Cross. It fits really well with his character. Um, I can see why WWE wouldn't want to use Killer as a namesake for whatever reason. I think that's why we also haven't got the, we call Ciampa Psycho Killer, but not necessarily WWE recognizes that. I think they've only mentioned like a few times when he wasn't signed and just kind of testing stuff out. But yeah, Killer Cross debuting and beating the crap out of Ciampa off camera and then just saying in his ear TikTok. And we had a little tease of Scarlett Bordeaux. I'm assuming, unless Killer Cross can wear those heels. I mean, I don't know. Not gonna speak for the man. He's got a good body on him, so I'm sure he can pull off heels. Uh, so next, that would be it for NXT. I just wanted to, I'm quickly gonna go through this stuff. It's not really super hard hitting or super awesome. It's kind of hard to keep a fun cadence after the week we've had. So I partly want to keep it normal, but that's why we're not doing like a normal show. It's a very somber week. It's a very emotions are high week. It's very strange. So pardon me for trying to keep it light and trying to keep it some kind of normalcy in this crazy world. I'm gonna touch upon a little bit on Dynamite this week. We had Jon Moxley having his first title defense against Jake Hager. Also handing Jake Hager his first loss in AEW. That was interesting. It was good. I didn't think Hager was going to win just so soon, especially just because Moxley is a new champion. Why would you have him lose? But it is interesting to see that like they had this empty arena match. It seems like the feelings online were it was pretty meh. I seem to like it. I liked it enough. I think they have good chemistry with each other. Moxley is my guy. Like I really love him. I love him as this top guy in AEW. I think him getting to shine a bit as well is really nice. It's just so surprising that WWE can do nothing with him and treat he always felt like the redheaded stepchild in the Shield. A lot of focus was put on Roman, for better or worse for fans. I know younger fans love Roman. I respect Roman. I felt like it was a little ham-fisted at times, especially his rise. But then we also have Seth. I wanted him to show off, and then we finally get him, and then they're kind of ham-fisting him too much. And at least now they're embracing that kind of cockiness that he is now, when it kind of seems like he is in real life. I can't speak for the man. I've never met him. I would love to meet him and say I was wrong. That's just a character, or that's his name. That's his company. That's who pays his checks. He wants to just look out for them. I don't know. I can't speak for him. But yeah, we had Moxley going over Hager. And then we also had Lance Archer continuing on and defeating Colt Cabana and going to the next section of the TNT Championship Tournament. That's going to be interesting. There's news that broke today with AEW having the Road to, I guess, the TNT Championship episode on their YouTube that Dustin put a retirement match clause in his match with Kip Sabian. So it'll be interesting. I want to see how that's going to go. Just doing a little research just in case you guys want to know. I'm Stat Boy whenever Nick is mentioning, oh, we'll get Stat Boy to do it. That's me. I'm Stat Boy. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go. Yeah, it's Kip Sabian. I just wanted to make sure that I was not incorrect. But yeah, him and Kip Sabian are going to go at it this week, I believe, on Dynamite. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I want to say that means Dustin's winning, but it's AEW. You don't know. I know Dustin is also a coach training the next generation of superstars within there. And I mean, if he thinks it's time and he wants to put over Kip Sabian, that's a great rub for Kip Sabian. He's someone I've heard about in the Indies. It was nice to see him do stuff in AEW in the beginning, especially last year. And now we're a year in. He's starting to build up this, this persona within the AEW organization, along with his real life fiance Penelope Ford. Both of them can go in the ring. It's really interesting to see. We'll see where it goes though. Do I think? I think Dustin's gonna win. I think that tells a more compelling storyline. I forget where he is on the brackets, but I think just seeing Dustin continue to go on, I think is interesting. Um, but also Kip needs a win, so it's weird. I think Dustin is going to win. I'm gonna put Dustin's gonna continue on in this, especially with the stipulation put up. I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna put the retirement. All right, so then we go to SmackDown. That's usually my show, so I definitely have a lot more notes than I would have with the other shows. I want to touch on them, but I guess we can start with the main event for SmackDown. I mean, we have for the 8th time tag team champions, the New Day. Uh, so yeah, the New Day, 8-time tag team champions. It's interesting. Big E always makes jokes about Charlotte having so many title wins, but now they're 8. They're one behind the Dudleys. They lose and win one more time. They're tied with the Dudleys at 9 championship wins, tag team champion wins. At least in WWE sense, I doubt WWE's counting TNA, Impact, ROH, whatever company they were with at the time. New Japan, I don't think they count the IWGP heavyweight titles in that as well. I think they're specifically talking about WWE. Which makes it, I mean, I would love to have people's feedback, whether it be on Twitter. You can talk to us at Entrance Ramp Pod. Me specifically at nerd_a_day. I would like to see what everyone's tag teams are. WWE has some really good tag teams, and New Day is my favorite. I will say that. But all 3 of them individually, I was fans of, and I was worried for them before they became a group. And then when they became a group, I was even more worried for them that they were going to be released at the time, all those years ago. And now they're this force of dominance. They're just selling merch left and right. Their podcast is so inspiring, at least for me, trying to starting to do this. This was one of my inspirations to start this with Mark and Nick and all. I wanted to kind of dip my toes in, and I think their stuff is so funny, so good. They're so genuine. They actually seem like good people. So it's nice to see them win a championship. I don't know if they necessarily needed it, but at the same time, do the Usos need the championship? And this is just my brain thinking. We also had Dana Brooke go over Naomi in a Money in the Bank qualifying match to move on, which was pretty big win for Dana. It was nice to see. I think she is starting to kind of get another foothold within WWE proper. But is there like any, I don't know, this is my like big brain thinking, is there anything negative toward that? Like, is there anything, hey, we're doing this because your husband keeps drinking and DUIs and all this other stuff? But I don't know what I'm thinking. I mean, that big storyline, so I guess not. But yeah, I just want to touch on that, and then I guess we can, at least for me, I'm gonna start talking about all the unfortunate news of this week. We'll start with the sad news, which is we lost Howard Finkel. He was a legend in WWE. A lot of, I always want to know what the younger generation's thoughts are. Like, who's their sound for them for wrestling? Meaning, my earliest memories, I remember hearing Vince and Gorilla and Macho Man. But then it definitely transitioned. My memories are more, and my fondest memories are more like JR, King, um, some Cole, but more JR than anything, at least for announcing. And then with these announcers that we have, like we have a newer crop. We got the Greg Hamiltons and we have the Mike Rose and Justin Roberts. But I don't think, and I think they'll say it as well, they wouldn't be here without Howard Finkel. And that guy had like just a classic voice for announcing, or like like a ring announcer in that sense, like just very classic, what you would expect out of like a big spectacle, like, or a big sport like boxing, or like anything like that. He has something synonymous with that. um I mean, even more so, like in my brain, more than like a Michael Buffer. But my brain's always like, I love wrestling more than anything. um like, more than actual boxing or things like that nature. So it was sad to see him go, especially after what happened the day before with the releases. But our thoughts and prayers are with the Finkel family. um it's a sad week for that. And I like the little nods to him last night in SmackDown when the New Day won their 8th tag team championship. um they had videos of Xavier and Kofi at home, and they both, as an homage to Finkel, did a their impression of going and new, and see that there's my terrible um, impression of him, but it's just interesting. It's the guy lived a very awesome life. I have so many fond memories of Howard Finkel, and it's sad to see him go. Um, so where we are, Howard Finkel, I never got to meet you, but you're a big part of my memories growing up with wrestling. Wrestling is very important to me in my mental health. So I want to say thank you, um, wherever you're at, buddy. Thank you. Um, so with that said, let's continue on. Kind of like this depressing start, and I'm just gonna go through the furloughs and the releases WWE has done. This is kind of crazy. So I believe it was Wednesday. Everything kind of popped off, and there were a bunch of cuts WWE made, kind of to help them money wise. There were also some announcements that they were recently transitioning headquarters from the Titan Towers to another location, I believe in Connecticut. I could be wrong, but um, they have stopped that. I think we'll see with Money in the Bank. I guess they're going to demolish Titan Towers physically. Um, and I guess we'll touch more about that next week, or we can talk about it right now. So we just breaking news from last night that Money in the Bank match will be held at Titan Towers. It is, I guess, going to be similar to the Boneyard match. It's going to be some cinematic in sense, but it's basically, if you're a Bruce Lee fan, it's going to be Game of Death. So you go up the floor and fight your way up the corporate ladder to get to the actual roof, and I guess there's Money in the Bank up there for both men and women. I don't know how this is going to play out. I think WWE is just trying to change the game when it comes to these no audience shows. Even though they're still filming some live because they're essential business. Don't know how that works. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on these names and kind of give them their due. I don't know if everyone knows, and wanted to just speak about this. So, so I'm going to start with on-air talent that are not wrestlers, and then we'll continue on to creative, referees, announcers, coaches, producers, and then the list of wrestlers who were released. Um, I'm getting this is the most recent list I have is from Wrestling Inc. This was posted this morning. I'm reading an article from Joshua Gagnon. Pardon me, Joshua, if I got your last name incorrect. If you want to throw them up, like you can check out their website. They're pretty decent. Um, but he was Joshua was reporting of a newest release, which we did not see of the NXT side. It seems like the NXT side is not really getting, you know, shown in that sense. But so I'm gonna start here. So we have on-air talent that wasn't like a physical wrestler that was released. We have John Quezado. I'm not familiar with that name. Um, but next we have Josiah Williams. If you know Josiah from wrestling, the biggest memory if you're an NXT fan would be coming out with Adam Cole and rapping the like his rap that he created for Wrestle and Flow, which is his website, or I believe his Twitter handle. Check him out. I don't know if he has a Patreon. Please support Josiah. That guy's amazing. I don't have a report if he's furloughed or actually released, but give him a shout out. Check on him. That dude's amazing. Much love, Josiah. I'm sorry that you're no longer with WWE, but I see bright things in your future. You're amazing. Keep doing your thing, dude. So creative, we have Andrea Lissenberger. Not familiar with Andrea, but not that we would know. Unfortunately, many creative people in that sense. We don't see them day to day, but I'm very sorry, Andrea. Mike Chioda, 30-year veteran referee, gone within WWE. Announcers, we have Aiden English, who wasn't in a more physical role as a wrestler until I believe last year, where he switched to announcing for 205 Live. Him and Jerry Soto are both gone. Jerry has been furloughed, so the rumor is that the contract says July 1st, but that could be changed. So it's weird to see Aiden English go, but hopefully he gets to do some wrestling. I know he's that's his passion. I know he's really good at it, and it'd be cool to see him in the indies or in another promotion. Kind of. I mean, hey, we have Simon Grimm out there when everything's normal. Why don't Aiden English and Simon Grimm kind of not make the Vault villains, but make something similar to it where they're just badasses that beat people up. So we have coaches. Serena Deb was released. Kendo Keshin and Ace Steel. Serena Deb, you would know her if you were a fan of the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk back in the day. That was awesome. She was a integral part of that. I know she did some of the women's classic tournaments and things like that. She's been a coach at the Performance Center, kind of teaching the next generation of superstars. So I'm very sad to see her go. So here we go with producers. This is the biggest. This is kind of the biggest. This is where it starts kind of getting. You get like some legacy names and people who have been helping backstage and some who are actually recently hired. So we have Lance Storm, one of the greatest Canadian wrestlers of all time. He was recently let go. Shane Helms, also known as a Hurricane, Sarah Stock, Scott Armstrong, Sean Davari, who's been helping for a while. Pat Buck, Mike Rotunda, formerly known as IRS. If you're an old school fan like Mark, you knew him from his Mike Rotunda. Bo Dallas's and Bray Wyatt's father. He was released. Billy Kidman, who's been a producer for a very long time within WWE, and Kurt Angle, who's been in a producer role since his retirement match against Baron Corbin last year at WrestleMania. So he's been released as well. And then I would say the biggest release producer-wise would be Fit Finley. Fit Finley has been hugely integral in the development of the women's division within WWE. He has always looked out for them. This week it was very saddening to see so many of the women superstars. I don't like using that word. You could tell. I just want to call them wrestlers. The superstars of WWE show their love and support for Fit. Um, it seems like he was very genuinely loved. I've heard so many backstage things where he's just always there for them. So it was very sad to see him go in that sense. I will say, unless it says furloughed on what I'm looking at, I'm just assuming they've been released. I'm not sure in the producer sets what's going on. So here we go. I'm just gonna go into the wrestlers. We'll start with the NXT side, and then go to the quote unquote main roster. NXT side we have Alexander Jacek, Deanna Purrazzo. It's very sad to see her go. She was just starting. She's been recently featured on Raw. I wonder where. I'm hoping when everything's back to normal, maybe ROH, she can go back to there. They need to build up their women's division, especially in light of what's been going on with like Kelly Klein and things of that nature. I think some good press would be really good for them. Impact's starting to build up their stuff. They have Kylie Ray and Tennille Dashwood and type of Valkyrie, so she would also be a good fit there. AEW is also building up their women's division. It'd be nice to see. MJ Jenkins, not very familiar with that name. Dan Matha, Alyssa Marino, Nick Komoroto, Tanara Conti, Mars Wang, Cesar Bonini. I apologize if I missed that. Tino Sabertelli. And the biggest one for this today we heard is Cassius Ono. So Chris Hero. Very legendary wrestler in the early 2000s independent scene. Transitioned to NXT when it kind of became a third brand as Cassius Ono left, came back. But yeah, now he's been released. It shows that his profile on the WWE.com is in the alumni section. As of this morning, there has been no reporting of it, but this is from Wrestling, so it seems at this point he has been let go. Now, on the Raw and SmackDown side, I'm going to speak. We have No Way Jose, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, Primo, Epico, Rowan, who's been recently featured on Raw, big storylines, giant stupid spider. But he was still having time on TV. It was very interesting. Sarah Logan recently lost on Raw. And, it seemed like she was going to be some kind of integral in when it came to Elimination Chamber. EC3. Someone they did not use much. He was used in NXT, but not on Raw or SmackDown. Drake Maverick. Former, general manager of 205 Live, and he is currently in the Cruiserweight Championship tournament that's going on for the new interim championship since Jordan Devlin is unable to travel. He had a very emotional video. If you want to check out his Twitter, show him some love as well. Heath Slater let go. Very interesting. Guy's been around forever. First ever, SmackDown Tag Team Champion with Rhino. Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder. Those are big names. I mean, Eric Young, Leo Rush. That's another one that he's just been recently on NXT TV. Recently, when this interim Cruiserweight title tournament was announced, he says on social media, he's like, "Oh, I'm not on there." And unfortunately, we know why now. It's just sad. Last two we have here are No Way Jose and Rusev. Some of these talent did want to. Oh, I'm sorry, and I think I saved this one because I have predictions. where they want to go. But we have Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. That is crazy. The Good Brothers. They were recently shown in the Boneyard match by WWE. They had a big spot in that. Like, they were used recently. They're the best tag team in the world. You know, they won that in the Saudi shows. They just signed 5-year deals last summer, and they both have been let go. Now, I will say all the NXT talent was let go. Apparently, they can take bookings now, but the world's a very different place. So, and they are getting paid for another month, but they are free to take any bookings at this moment. With the quote unquote main roster, they have 90-day compete clauses, no compete clauses, and I believe it's a Wednesday in July. It's like the middle of July that they are able to take bookings, appear on shows. I would not. I would assume some of these talents show up on AEW that Wednesday. Not all. I think. Looking at the list, I think that the two I would see go to AEW, if not at least one, would be Zack Ryder. Zack is a big friend of Cody, and I would assume Cody's always mentioned before that he felt that Zack was always being not used correctly. I mean, we wouldn't have wrestling on the internet and in the social sense that we have today without Zack Ryder. We owe him. I mean, Entrance Ramp owes him a huge thank you for doing this. It's very interesting to see where we're gonna go with this. I mean, we have so many of these releases. I just wanted to touch on that, at least on my end. I could see a lot of these people going to these. I can see a lot maybe going to Impact, but I see more. I don't see too many AEW taking. I don't think they want to have a quote unquote like a bloat within their company in the roster. They want to be able to use the roster appropriately between Dark and Dynamite proper. But I see Ryder and possibly Hawkins going over there. I wouldn't be surprised. EC3 and Maverick, they have a history with Impact, but it's at least at the end it was seemingly negative. I'm not sure, unless they were just bored, but I can see them going back to Impact. Primo Epico, they've been in I believe is it CWC in Puerto Rico. They've been doing stuff down there. I believe Primo is the world heavyweight champion at this moment. I mean, wrestling's kind of stopped worldwide, unless you're WWE, because you get deemed essential service. The Canals, well, pardon me, Mike Bennett and Maria Canales. Now Mike can actually go by his actual last name. I mean, if everything's back to normal, I can see them going back to ROH, reforming the Kingdom with Matt Taven. Especially now, especially with Mike being clean, that would be cool to see. But a lot of these talents, Rusev has wanted his release for a while, so now having him gone is going to be interesting. I would love to see Rusev in like NWA. NWA is also going to be another place where a lot of these talent can go. I don't think a lot of people mention them enough. I know Mark is a big fan of them, on our channel, and I mean they're doing great stuff. They're doing great like talent stuff, and that's something that where if they're in NWA, I mean they could work with ROH. It seems like they have another working relationship again, especially with Marty Scurll as the head booker there. So Rusev in NWA would be awesome, or New Japan. Seeing him in New Japan would be awesome as well. Which kind of takes me to my next point is we had a cryptic video from Carl Anderson where it showed the like just stock footage of like a plane flying. It said San Diego to Japan. So it seems like Carl Anderson has already indicated where his future will take him. Would hope that Gallows goes with him. I think they are such a great tag team to have. Anderson being one of the founding members of the Bullet Club. Uh, it'd be nice to see him go back to his machine gun persona. Get a little more respect than he should. No, pardon me. No, I'm sorry. That he deserves. I don't know why I said that. Delete that. But no, Anderson and Gallows are awesome, and I would love to see him go back to New Japan. I don't know whether they go back with the Bullet Club, especially a Bullet Club with Jay White, or it'd be cool to see a switch, have them join Chaos, um, as the Good Brothers, kind of fighting against maybe, um, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. That would be awesome. That'd be a good change of pace for them. Um, they have interesting matchups. I mean, a lot of the young lions are now higher up within New Japan. They have fresh matches with everyone. Hell, I mean, Anderson can go after the G1 again, man. Do it. Dude's like incredible shape. Why not? Um, but yeah, that takes us to that. So that's all the releases. Um, it's a sad day. It's a very sad day if you are a wrestling fan. I you know, it's been a rough week, kind of dealing with the news and let them know what's going on in the world. I mean, a lot of us are kind of at home dealing with our own stuff, and wrestling is it's something to keep a lot of demons away, per se. I mean, wrestling growing up for me was always an outlet, um, kind of to get all that rage and that depression out. If I was depressed, I could look forward to watching Friday Night SmackDown. Hence why I picked SmackDown, this new incarnation of SmackDown. I mean, some of my fondest memories is like just being done with school, having like this major anxiety attack, which is that's not the fondness of it, but like having this depression and anxiety, and then oh wait, it's 8 o'clock. And, oh yeah, Eddie Guerrero is wrestling tonight, and he's wrestling Rey Mysterio, and all this stuff. Or oh man, did you just hear like Eddie just won the championship? Like what? He beat Brock Lesnar? Yeah, he beat Brock Lesnar because Goldberg came in. I'm like let's not talk about that. Eddie won the championship. That's all that matters. I have all these fond memories of that era and of wrestling in general. Like just growing up. Um, my One of my fondest wrestling memories, I have two. One is seeing Shawn Michaels win at WrestleMania 12 against Bret Hart. Um, my mom, her partner, um, Agostina, she loved wrestling, and we would watch it together. So wrestling is always like a family thing for me. Um, so having like my other mom be there and like be just as excited to see Shawn Michaels win, and she sees the tears in my eyes. She's giving me a hug. Like I was just a little kid who's just like so happy to see my dude win like the championship, and I'll never forget like the call, the boyhood dream, and I just associate all these like happy memories with wrestling. My cousin Rafi taking me out, driving me to South Philly to go see Raw. I was there in '95 at the King of the Ring. Not the best King of the Ring. It was a pretty crappy one, but still, you know, spending time with him and my cousins Louie and Manny and Saeed. It was just nice. Like I have all these super fond memories. I went to an ECW show way too young. Way too young. Like I went way too young. My cousin Rafi took me and I don't remember much. I just kind of remember Shane Douglas cursing and my cousin Rafi looking at me like he's 21 years my senior. So he took me out a lot. He's also my godfather. So he looked at me and he's just like I kind of remember like the fear in his eyes, like, oh man, I just can't tell his mom what's going on. And then there was a moment where like the guardrail broke and everyone was running to the stands. Typical ECW. I mean, you would find this out later, or at least I would, as a fan of ECW. He can't find me because I'm just little. just a little chunky Puerto Rican kid, and a sea of other people in South Philly in this bingo hall who just scattered. And he's like, all right, I got the one kid. I got Louis. Where's Carlos? Where's Carlos? And I'm like, what just happened? There's adults pushing me. What's going on? I look up, and there he is in the stands. And I see him, he sees me, and I see his eyes and just the dread. And I don't understand why. And I like turn around, like, I don't know if it's like just I was a kid and I don't remember much. I would love to go back. Like on the WWE Network has all these old ECW showings. I would love to see if I'm on there somehow. But I clearly remember, like, I don't know who it was, but just getting hit with a chair and like the sweat and the just grossness hit me in the face. And I just remember, like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm always going to be a fan of this. This is awesome. So wrestling is very integral to my like mental health and to my life. It's awesome. It's an outlet, you know. The other day I had this random thing. We were getting ready to watch night 2 of WrestleMania this year. Yeah, I'm getting everything ready. You know, we ate dinner, or you know, helping my wife with dinner. I just cleaned up my oldest, my son. I got, you know, I'm all ready. I'm clean. I'm ready. I'm like, cool. I'm good to go. Got beer ready. And, you know, my son's playing. And I turned on WWE Network. And he's like, Dad, is that wrestling? And clicks like, he knows. He knows what this is now. I was like, yeah, bud, it's wrestling. He's like, ooh, can I watch wrestling? I was like, and my wife sees my eyes and she like sees I'm tearing up. She's like, you good? I was like, I'm good. This is all I've ever wanted, was to have like my son, and hopefully my daughter would like it too, but watch wrestling with me and kind of mimic the times I had with my other mom and my cousin. So that's why I kind of want to just, this is a very long form for me. I'm sure everyone will be a little shorter, but I just kind of wanted to touch upon the releases and talk about why wrestling's so important to me, and why this week was really rough for that. But I mean, if you guys have a chance, I would say, you know, everyone just, you know, if you have one of the favorite wrestler out of here, out of this list, hit them up on Twitter. Just send them a nice note. Their DM's open. Send them a nice DM. Be like, yo, I'm sorry you got released. I can't wait to see what you do next. Something along those lines. If you want to show them support, I mean, I'm kind of taking a page out of, I mentioned him a bunch on our show, Brian Zane at Wrestling Regret. You know, support independent wrestling. You have a promotion in your city, go to it. You know, go to these shows. Go to this. It's awesome. Check it out. You know, if you want to support these wrestlers monetarily, I mean, if they have a Patreon, hit them up. If they have other sites, hit them up. Just gonna talk about that, but they have other sites. You know, you want to hook them up, give them some money. You know, Pro Wrestling Tees is a great place. A lot of these release wrestlers have newer shirts. Those proceeds, I'm not sure how it boils down within Pro Wrestling Tees, but I know they make money. It helps them. Zack Ryder, or should I say Matt Cardona, has one now. He's the top selling shirt as of the email this morning from Pro Wrestling Tees that I just kind of get like their just normal newsletter. He's the top selling shirt. Gallows and Anderson have their own two new shirts. Check them out. Buy it. You know, support these guys. Let's hope that everyone can bounce back in this craziness. I hope you can bounce back. You know, with everything going on, I hope you guys are well. At least for me, from Carlos, I would like to say I love you guys. Stay safe. And we'll see you at the entrance ramp. Goodbye.